And away we go, episode 1271 of the Al Galdi podcast. It is Monday, March 2nd, 2026. It is the first show of this month of March, which we are told comes in like a lion and out like a lamb. This is the final day of the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine, which is taking place at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. So the Combine has been happening since last Monday, and we have quite a bit to discuss regarding the Washington Commanders. So hello and welcome to this Monday installment of the Al Galdi podcast, on which we follow Washington, D.C. area sports so that you don't have to. ESPN NFL insider Jeremy Fowler, he in an ESPN.com piece that came out on Sunday morning, wrote regarding the Commanders this offseason, quote, expect Washington to target offensive help among a lot of other things when asking about the top tier of free agent running backs, tight ends, and linebackers. The Commanders come up a lot, end quote. Next segment, I'll react to that and more from that piece, and I'll further examine why the Commanders reportedly are releasing center Tyler Biadasz. The answer by process of elimination seemingly has become clear. The following segment, analysis of the latest change for the Commanders coaching staff, as we this past Friday morning had reports that the team is promoting tight ends coach David Raih to offensive pass game coordinator, and we this past Friday afternoon had reports that the team is hiring Ben Steele as tight ends coach. And then the segment after that, discussion of the Commanders' improved culture of telling comments from Arizona State receiver Jordyn Tyson at the Combine and off the Commanders for the 2025 season, ranking number 3 out of 32 NFL teams in overall report card per the NFL Players Association. And also on the show, I'll talk Washington Capitals, Washington Wizards, and college basketball. A mixed weekend for the Caps. Friday night, a 3-2 win over the Vegas Golden Knights at Capital One Arena, but Saturday night, a 6-2 loss at the Montreal Canadiens, and it was after this game that we got some perhaps telling comments from Caps head coach Spencer Carberry about the team's number 2 goaltender, Charlie Lindgren. Our rebuilding and tanking Wizards. Boy, did they tank their lone game over the weekend, a 134-125 loss to the Toronto Raptors at Capital One Arena on Saturday night. The Wizards entered the fourth quarter down by just 6 points at 98-92, but Wizards head coach Brian Keefe then did not play 4 of the Wizards' 5 starters at all in the fourth quarter. That, my friends, is precisely how you tank. And we in college basketball over the weekend had a lot of losses. Losses for Maryland, Georgetown, number 11 Virginia, Virginia Tech, and George Washington, but wins for VCU, George Mason, and Navy. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You could email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Email from Kim on a certain something that the Commanders value, writes Kim. Adam Peters valuing player versatility harkens back to Ron Rivera's position flex. I didn't want to admit that, but that is the case. Hope our team goes best player at the draft. Really do. And I want that safety from Ohio State. He sounds legit. Just my 2 cents. Thank you for the email, Kim. Yeah, a lot of talk from the Commanders lately about player versatility, especially regarding the defense. So the team's new defensive coordinator, Durante Jones, likes to talk about players and his defense being multiple. We have heard that word a lot, multiple. And for sure, this is another way of discussing what our friend Ron Rivera discussed ad nauseum during his 4 years as Washington head coach in charge of player personnel. Position flex.
Position flex.
Yes, Ron, position flex. But the truth is that Ron was not wrong to value position flex. He just valued it with the wrong guys. But these days in the NFL, a team does want players who can be used in multiple ways. And a major trend in sports is sports becoming increasingly positionless. The NFL, MLB, and the NBA all have become increasingly positionless in recent years. In the NFL, we have cornerbacks who get used as safeties, and safeties who get used as cornerbacks, and safeties who get used as linebackers, and linebackers who get used as safeties, and receivers who get used as running backs, and running backs who get used as receivers, etc. In MLB, so many good players now are guys who play multiple positions. So the most extreme example of this might be the Los Angeles Dodgers' Mookie Betts, who is a terrific player and who last season did mostly play shortstop, but who over the last 3 seasons has seen substantial time at shortstop, second base, and right field. And in the NBA, forget about it. The only position that kind of sort of matters anymore is point guard, and even that doesn't matter that much, but the idea of having a shooting guard, a small forward, a power forward, and a center on the court at the same time now is antiquated. Just have your 5 best players on the court. It's really interesting in the NFL, MLB, and the NBA right now. Positions have never mattered less, and so the Commanders valuing positional versatility makes sense. They just need to value the right players.
Position flexed.
Yes, thank you, Ron. And Kim mentioned wanting the Commanders with their number 7 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft to take Ohio State safety Caleb Downs. We on last Monday's show, episode 1266, got great insight on Downs via our conversation with Ohio State football insider Doug Lesmerises of Bill and Doug on Ohio State football on Substack. Now, Downs at the Combine did have some underwhelming measurables in being measured this past Friday, February 27th. A height of just 5'11 and 5'8" of an inch, weight of 206 pounds, arm length of just 30 and a quarter inches, wingspan of just 73 and a quarter inches. Ideally, yes, he would be more of a physical freak a la Ohio State linebacker Sonny Styles. But personally, the underwhelming measurables for Caleb Downs do not have me down on the Commanders taking him at 7. I'm still very open to that. I am not down on Downs. An NFL draft analyst who I like a lot is Todd McShay of The Ringer. Here was McShay on an installment of the McShay Show podcast that came out this past Friday, February 27th, on Caleb Downs.
Downs does not work out here. There is a length deficiency issue that we'll have to get to at some point with Caleb Downs. He checked in at 5'11 and a half, 206 pounds, 9.5 inch hands, all good. Then a 30 and a quarter inch arm length and a 73 and a quarter wingspan. And you say, Todd, like, what does that mean? Well, the average wingspan for a safety is 75. And 5, it's almost 76. And the average arm is 31 and a half. And so he's below both of those numbers as the number 1 safety. And we're talking about elite. But like, I promise you, everyone in the league is like, I don't care. I don't care. But that's there.
Okay, so Todd McShay on Caleb Downs' underwhelming measurables, quote, everyone in the league is like, I don't care, end quote. Well, you, of course, do care about your skin, and you can present the best version of yourself via OneSkin, which is the best product for skincare. OneSkin formulas are powered by the OS1 peptide, a patented peptide built on longevity science proven to target aging at the cellular level. OneSkin supports the cellular repair that keeps your skin looking and feeling better as you get older. This is not about adding extra steps to your routine. No, this is about swapping in smarter ones. Born from over 10 years of longevity research, OneSkin's OS1 peptide is proven to target the cells that cause the visible signs of aging, helping you unlock your healthiest skin now and as you age. And for a limited time, OneSkin is making it even easier to stay consistent with up to 30% off your first 3 subscription orders when you use the promo code GALDY at oneskin.co/GALDY. That's oneskin.co/GALDY and use the promo code GALDY. oneskin.co/GALDY, up to 30% off with the promo code GALDY. And after your purchase, you'll be asked where you heard about OneSkin. Please support our show and say that Al Galdi sent you. Hey, thank you to all of you who have given this podcast a 5-star rating and to have written nice reviews of the podcast. You on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify can both rate the podcast and write reviews. 5-star ratings are very much appreciated. Positive reviews are very much appreciated. ESPN NFL insiders Jeremy Fowler and Dan Graziano, they co-authored an ESPN.com piece that came out on Sunday morning. Headline, quote, 2026 NFL Combine Buzz, Intel on Free Agency, Trades, QBs, end quote. 2 notable items regarding the Washington Commanders in that piece. Number 1, wrote Fowler, quote, expect Washington to target offensive help, among a lot of other things. When asking about the top tier of free agent running backs, tight ends, and linebackers, the Commanders come up a lot, and quote. Number 2, Commanders left guard Chris Paul, who was set to be an unrestricted free agent this offseason. He, in this piece, was listed among the top sleeper free agents this offseason per NFL executives. Quote, Commanders offensive guard Chris Paul. He had 15 starts last season with a powerful style of play. Starting guards with a pulse get paid, end quote. What the market for Chris Paul off just one good NFL season ends up being is going to be so interesting. But regarding Jeremy Fowler reporting, quote, expect Washington to target offensive help among a lot of other things when asking about the top tier of free agent running backs, tight ends, and linebackers, the Commanders come up a lot, and quote, this is yet another sign of the Commanders' dissatisfaction with their offense this past season. The defense clearly was worthy of dissatisfaction. The offense was a little trickier, but it has become very clear that the Commanders view the offense as being in significant need of upgrading. They want to do a better job of surrounding quarterback Jayden Daniels with talent, and of course, they are not wrong to feel that way. I will say this about general manager Adam Peters and head coach Dan Quinn. They, since the end of the disappointing 5-12 2025 regular season, have behaved with an urgency that absolutely communicates a recognition that this past season was not just about the team getting walloped by injury. The revamping of the coaching staff speaks to this urgency. The releasing of center Tyler Biadasz speaks to this urgency. And I do think that the team's behavior in free agency and trades this offseason is going to speak to this urgency. Remember, NFL insider Ian Rappaport of NFL Network on NFL Network's The Insiders back on February 13th said this about the Commanders in terms of free agency and trades in the 2026 offseason. Quote, it is an essential, important year for Washington. I wouldn't be surprised if there were some fireworks here. The time to spend is now, end quote. We can define, quote, fireworks, end quote, in a variety of ways. But yeah, I do get the sense that some fireworks from the team in free agency and trades this offseason are coming. NFL teams this past Friday were notified that the salary cap for the NFL's 2026-2027 league year has been set at $301.2 million per club, marking an increase of $22 million from the $279.2 million salary cap per club for the NFL's 2025-2026 league year. And with the cap now set at $301.2 million per club for the upcoming league year, the Commanders, per both OverTheCap.com and Spotrac.com, are number 5 in the NFL in both basic salary cap space and effective salary cap space for the 2026-2027 league year. The Commanders are in position to author, quote, fireworks, end quote, this offseason. Now, I mentioned Tyler Biadasz. And now it's been 4 days since that shocking news this past Thursday night. Reports that the Commanders are releasing center Tyler Biadasz. They have not yet officially released Biadasz. They presumably will do so soon as a favor to him to enter the open market before free agency begins next Monday. From Monday, March 9th at 12 p.m. Eastern until Wednesday, March 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern have what is known as the legal tampering period, the period during which teams are permitted to contact and enter into contract negotiations with the certified agents of external players who are set to become unrestricted free agents this offseason. And then we on Wednesday, March 11th at 4 p.m. Eastern have the start of the NFL's 2026-2027 league year, which marks when teams this offseason can begin officially signing external players who have become unrestricted free agents via expiring contracts, and marks when teams this offseason can officially begin executing trades of players. So what appears to be the case is that the Commanders releasing Tyler Biadasz is more about performance than anything else. That is surprising. That is yet another reminder of how we as fans and media members basically know nothing. We can think that we know, and we do kind of know, but ultimately, we as fans and media members basically know nothing. Nobody outside of the team saw this coming, reported that this was coming, hinted at this coming, or anything like that. Remember, a prevailing take had been that the offensive line was the Commanders' biggest bright spot in terms of a position group from their disappointing 5-12 2025 regular season. Well, the team now is releasing a key member of that position group. Age does not appear to be the reason. The 2026 season will be Biadasz's age 29 season. Injury does not appear to be the reason. Now, Biadasz did end the 2025 regular season on the reserve/injured list, on which he was placed this past December 31st due to knee and ankle injuries that he suffered in the 30-23 loss to the Dallas Cowboys at Northwest Stadium on Christmas. But the reporting has been that he is not being released by the Commanders due to injury. Additionally, money in and of itself does not appear to be the reason. The Commanders have a lot of salary cap space, but money is part of the reason in this way, because what appears to be the reason for the Commanders releasing Tyler Biadasz is that they don't believe that he is worth what he is being paid. The Commanders on March 15th, 2024 announced the signing of Biadasz as an unrestricted free agent. He, per overthecap.com and spotrac.com, signed a 3-year contract with $17.7 million fully guaranteed at signing. The idea was for Biadasz to bring stability at center, as Washington over the 2021 through 2023 regular seasons dealt with extreme instability at center due to the injury problems of Chase Roulier and Tyler Larson in the 2021 and 2022 regular seasons, and the struggles of Nick Gates in the 2023 regular season. Remember our friend Nick Gates. Tyler Biadasz, over his 2 seasons with the Commanders, played in and started 31 of the team's 34 regular season games and played in and started all 3 of the team's postseason games. And he, for the Commanders, was a solid, dependable center. He, for the 2024 regular season, per Pro Football Focus, had an overall grade of 64.2. And for the 2025 regular season, per Pro Football Focus, had an overall grade of 70.7. Those are decent, though not great grades. PFF grades are on a scale of 0 to 100. 60 is average. But the Commanders clearly were not impressed with what they saw from Biadasz this past season. Biadasz, for the 2026 season, per overthecap.com, was set to have a salary cap hit of $10.985 million and a salary of $8.3 million. So those numbers ranked number 5 and number 7, respectively, among all centers in the NFL. The Commanders are loaded with cap space for the 2026 season, but they clearly did not believe that Biadasz was worth what he was being paid. And I also would say this. While, yes, it may be that the Commanders like some of the centers in free agency and like some of the centers in the 2026 NFL draft, you don't release your starting center for the last 2 seasons solely because you like some of the centers in free agency and you like some of the centers in the draft. There is no guarantee that the Commanders will get any of these centers. The team can't just assume that it'll get one of those guys. And I also would say this. I would be surprised if the Commanders' plan at center is to just go with the man who ended this past regular season as their backup center, Nick Allegretti. I know that there has been some speculation that that's what the thinking is, that the team will just go with Allegretti as the starting center. I would think that the plan is to acquire a center of note, with Allegretti being a fallback plan. But bottom line, the Commanders releasing Tyler Biadasz appears to be about them believing that he isn't worth what he's being paid, and this especially stands out to me given that the team appears to be keeping interior defensive lineman Daron Payne, despite him not being worth what he's being paid. Like, if I'm Biadasz, I'm looking at Adam Peters and I'm saying, you're releasing me because you don't believe that I'm worth what I'm being paid, but you're keeping Daron Payne? Really? Something that I've wondered, and that I'm sure many of you have wondered, is if perhaps the Commanders are releasing Tyler Biadasz because they don't see him as a fit for their new offense with David Blau as offensive coordinator, that the Commanders perhaps do not see Biadasz as a good fit for what they want to do, especially if they, as expected, go with more of a zone running scheme, more of a Shanahan-style running scheme. And to that, I would say maybe, but a good friend of this podcast, Commanders analyst Mark Bullock of Bullock's Film Room on Substack, he very much believes that Biadasz would be a very good fit for the Commanders in going with more of a zone running scheme, more of a Shanahan-style running scheme. In fact, I'll read to you directly from a direct message that I got from Mark on Saturday evening. Quote, if anything, Biadasz is a better fit for zone than the gap stuff they did last year. The reason Dallas let him walk was because he was a great athlete but lacked a bit of power/strength, end quote. And speaking of Dallas, keep in mind that Tyler Biadasz is, or at least was, a Dan Quinn guy. Biadasz spent his first 4 NFL seasons, 2020 through 2023, with the Dallas Cowboys. So they took him in the 4th round of the 2020 NFL draft out of Wisconsin. Dan Quinn was the Cowboys defensive coordinator for the 2021 through 2023 seasons, but that relationship, not enough to prevent the Commanders from releasing Biadasz. It has been nearly 2 months since the Washington Commanders began the revamping of their coaching staff by on January 6 parting with offensive coordinator Cliff Kingsbury, offensive line coach Bobby Johnson, and defensive coordinator Joe Witt Jr., but we appear to be at, or at least close to, the end of the revamping, as we on Friday learned of 2 more changes for the coaching staff. We on Friday morning had reports that the Commanders are promoting tight ends coach David Raih to offensive pass game coordinator, and we on Friday afternoon had reports that the Commanders are hiring Ben Steele as tight ends coach. David Raih, his last name is spelled R-A-I-H, is pronounced Raih. He replaces Brian Johnson, who spent the last 2 seasons as the Commanders' assistant head coach / offensive pass game coordinator. The Los Angeles Rams, they last Monday afternoon, in announcing their 2026 coaching staff, announced the hiring of Johnson as senior offensive assistant and announced the hiring of Cliff Kingsbury as assistant head coach. Now, a presumed reason that Brian Johnson left the Commanders was that he did not get their offensive coordinator job, as the team on January 10th announced having promoted assistant quarterbacks coach David Blau to offensive coordinator, off having parted with Kingsbury on January 6th. The Commanders reportedly interviewed 4 other people for the offensive coordinator vacancy, including 2 other internal candidates, Brian Johnson and David Raih. Yeah, the team interviewed David Raih for its offensive coordinator vacancy. The Commanders on February 15th, 2024, announced the hiring of Raih as tight ends coach. He spent the 2023 season as a senior offensive analyst for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He has significant history with Cliff Kingsbury. You know, there had been the thought that if Kingsbury got a head coaching job, both David Blau and David Raih would have followed Kingsbury. But Raih is a Kingsbury guy. Raih was the Arizona Cardinals receivers coach for the 2019 and 2020 seasons, which were Kingsbury's first 2 seasons as Cardinals head coach. Raih was Texas Tech's assistant quarterbacks coach / outside receivers coach for the 2013 season, which was Kingsbury's first season as Texas Tech head coach. Also, David Raih played big-time college football. He was a quarterback for the University of Iowa for the 1999 through 2003 seasons. As for the Commanders' incoming new tight ends coach, Ben Steele. So he's a Dan Quinn guy. Steele spent the 2019 season as an offensive assistant for the Atlanta Falcons and spent the 2020 season as the Falcons tight ends coach. A Commanders head coach, Dan Quinn, was the Falcons head coach February 2015 to October 2020. But what is especially interesting to me about Ben Steele is that his background perhaps provides clues for the kind of offense that David Blau is planning on running as Commanders offensive coordinator. Ben Steele spent the 2023 through 2025 seasons as the Arizona Cardinals tight ends coach. The Cardinals offensive coordinator for those 3 seasons was Drew Petzing, who the Detroit Lions this past January 26 announced as having hired as offensive coordinator, and who is tight with former Lions offensive coordinator and current Chicago Bears head coach Ben Johnson. Steele and Johnson worked together at Boston College over the 2010 and 2011 seasons and became such good friends that each guy served as a best man at the other's wedding. David Blau was on the Lions practice squad during the 2023 season as a quarterback, working with then Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. A thought has been that David Blau, as Commanders offensive coordinator, wants to run a Ben Johnson style offense. This hiring of Ben Steele as tight ends coach speaks to that. Now, the Ben Johnson style of offense does have similarities to the Shanahan style of offense. Consider this. Ben Steele spent the 2021 season as the Minnesota Vikings assistant offensive line coach and spent the 2022 season as the Denver Broncos assistant offensive line coach. Las Vegas Raiders head coach Clint Kubiak was the Vikings offensive coordinator for the 2021 season and was the Broncos offensive passing game coordinator and quarterbacks coach for the 2022 season. Kubiak and presumably Steele are well-versed in the Shanahan style of offense. The name Kubiak is virtually synonymous with the name Shanahan. Again, the background of Ben Steele perhaps gives us clues for the kind of offense that David Blau is planning on running as Commanders offensive coordinator. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. It has been a Washington, D.C. institution for decades. If you feel that you've been wronged, if you think that you've been wrong but aren't sure, contact the Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers, and schedule a no-obligation appointment. Call 202-902-7611 or visit WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. Founded in 1979, the Nace Law Group offers fierce advocacy on behalf of medical malpractice, birth injury, and personal injury victims. Led by the great Chris Nace, the Nace Law Group is focused on providing exceptional care and counsel for those who need such things the most. The Nace Law Group fights for what it believes in: you, your family, and your future. You with the Nace Law Group have an experienced advocate on your side. The Nace Law Group has secured millions of dollars in verdict and settlement amounts for clients to better enable them to care for themselves and their families. Call 202-902-7611 or visit WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com and tell the Nace Law Group that Al Galdi sent you. That's 202-902-7611 or WashingtonDCInjuryLawyers.com, and make sure that you mention that Al Galdi sent you. The Nace Law Group, accident and injury lawyers. More now regarding the Washington Commanders from the 2026 NFL Scouting Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis as the 8-day Combine is wrapping up on Monday. Arizona State's Jordyn Tyson is regarded as one of the best receivers in the 2026 NFL Draft. Pro Football Focus in its big board that was updated on February 28th had Tyson as the WR3. ESPN NFL Draft analyst Mel Kiper Jr. in his big board that came out on February 23rd had Tyson as the WR2. NFL draft analyst Daniel Jeremiah of NFL Network and his big board that came out on February 23rd had Tyson as the WR3. The consensus WR1 is Ohio State's Cornell Tate, on whom we got great insight on last Tuesday's show, episode 1267, in speaking with Ohio State football insider Doug Lesmerises of Bill and Doug on Ohio State football on Substack. For all of the talk about whether the Commanders with their number 7 overall pick in the 2026 NFL Draft should take Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love, I do think that there should be a lot more talk about our team potentially taking Tate at 7. Anyway, Jordyn Tyson, highly touted receiver in this draft. Here was Tyson with NFL insider Josina Anderson in an interview that was posted on YouTube this past Friday morning.
Now, what team meeting stood out? You know, obviously, I'm sure you met with a bunch of clubs. As far as any questions or anything that they had you do that was most memorable?
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but to be honest, the Commanders, the format they had it, the way they did it, kudos to them, to be honest with you, but the way they formatted it and the way they had did it.
Like in what way?
They had just pulling up pictures and what have you, what it means to you and stuff like that. And then the receiver coach will have another picture. He'll walk through it with us and stuff like that. So just the format of them. So kudos to them.
So how about that from Jordyn Tyson? He said that the team meeting that most stood out in terms of his experience at the Combine was his meeting with the Commanders, that the, quote, format, end quote, of the meeting was especially impressive. Now, I don't want to make too big of a deal of Jordyn Tyson saying this, but this is one of these little things that is indicative of a much bigger thing, and that is the, wait for it, culture of the Commanders is much improved. The word culture, as it relates to the Commanders franchise, has been used to death off all of the culture problems during Dan Snyder's time as owner of the team. But the culture being improved isn't a small deal. This is a big deal. And even with the team coming off a highly disappointing 5-12 2025 regular season, the culture remains strong. As then Redskins team president Bruce Allen famously said in October 2019, the culture is good.
You know, the culture is actually damn good.
Yes, thank you, Bruce. The culture is good. And maybe the biggest endorsement of the Commanders' culture during the Combine came from the leaking of the report cards from the NFL Players Association for the NFL's 32 teams for various things. ESPN senior NFL writer Kaylin Kaler, she this past Thursday afternoon came out with a report on the report cards. Now, the report cards were supposed to be private instead of public due to a grievance filed by the NFL, which has claimed that the publicizing of the report cards violated the collective bargaining agreement, but the report cards were leaked to Kaler. And the Commanders for the 2025 season ranked number 3 out of 32 NFL teams in overall report card, a meteoric rise for our team given where it had ranked. This was year 4 of the NFLPA report cards for NFL teams for various things. The Commanders for the 2022 season ranked number 32 out of 32 NFL teams in overall report card. The Commanders for the 2023 season ranked number 32 out of 32 NFL teams in overall report card. But the Commanders for the 2024 season ranked number 11 out of 32 NFL teams in overall report card. And the Commanders for the 2025 season ranked number 3 out of 32 NFL teams in overall report card. Quite the improvement, quite the surge of the Josh Harris Group purchasing the Commanders from Dan and Tanya Snyder in July 2023. Take a listen to these grades for the Commanders for the 2025 season. Again, the team in the 2025 regular season went 5-12, but here were the Commanders' grades for the 2025 season. Treatment of families, B+. Home game field, B+. Food/dining area, A-. Nutritionist/dietitian, A-. Locker room, B. Training room, A-. Training staff, A. Weight room, A. Strength coaches, A+. Position coaches, B+. Offensive coordinator, B+. Defensive coordinator, B-. Special teams coordinator, A-. Team travel, B-. Head coach, A+. General manager, A. Team ownership, A+. How about all of that? I mean, just the home game field grade being a B+ is remarkable, given how horrendous the field at FedEx Field, now Northwest Stadium, has been over the years. But the team's lowest grade was a B-, which was for defensive coordinator. No surprise, but even a B- isn't bad. And know this, the only 2 head coaches who got an A+ were Commanders head coach Dan Quinn and Los Angeles Rams head coach and former Redskins offensive coordinator Sean McVay. Quinn and McVay, the only 2 A+ head coaches for the 2025 season per the report cards from the NFLPA. And again, the Commanders in the 2025 regular season went 5-12. Something that we talked about was that as bad as the team's 2025 season was, Quinn did not lose the team. He did not lose the locker room. The team continued to play hard for him, and there's something to be said for that. Do you remember how bad the Commanders' grades on previous report cards from the NFLPA were? I mean, these grades were humiliating. The Commanders for the 2022 season ranked number 32 out of 32 NFL teams in overall report card. The Commanders out of the 8 categories got 4 Fs, including 3 F-minuses. The Commanders for the 2023 season ranked number 32 out of 32 NFL teams in overall report card. The Commanders out of the 11 categories got 5 Fs, including 3 F-minuses. Forget Fs. Our team became a master of the F-. And yet now, number 3 out of 32 NFL teams in overall report card. I give team ownership, the Josh Harris Group, a lot of credit. I give general manager Adam Peters a lot of credit. I give head coach Dan Quinn a lot of credit. Now, I know what many of you are thinking, and I hear you. A great report card from the NFLPA means nothing when you're coming off 5-12. Who cares about the team being number 3 in the NFL in overall report card from the NFLPA when the team just went 5-12? But to that, I would say this. So we've all wondered whether 5-12 was a blip, a bump in the road, or was a major sign that things are not as good with the team as we thought off the Renaissance 2024 season. The team being number 3 in the NFL in overall report card from the NFLPA, and more specifically, grading out so well in so many categories relevant to football suggests that the team's process is good, and that matters a lot. Focus on the grades in the most football-centric categories. Training room, A-, training staff, A, strength coaches, A+, general manager, A, head coach, A+, position coaches, B+, offensive coordinator, B+, defensive coordinator, B-, special teams coordinator, A-. All of that is encouraging. I mean, off a season in which the Commanders got ravaged by injury, they still got these grades. Training room, A-, training staff, A. That's pretty impressive. The culture, my friends, is good.
You know, the culture is actually damn good.
Thank you, Bruce. The culture is good. Hey, we on this podcast recently have had some great guests discussing the glory days of the Redskins. Episode 1250, legendary sports writer Richard Justice, who served as a Skins beat reporter and columnist and working for the Washington Post from February 1986 to July 2000. Episode 1263, former Skins GM Charlie Casserly. Well, here is an outstanding book about the glory days of the Redskins, RFK All Access by Scott Cunningham, who served as a photographer for NFL properties for years and who photographed the Redskins extensively during their glory days in the 1980s and early 1990s. Scott, via RFK All Access, has put together a compilation of his best Redskins photos, many of which are behind-the-scenes photos. Joe Gibbs, Jack Kent Cooke, Richie Pettibone, the Hogs, the Posse, Sonny Sam and Frank, all, and so many more are featured in this book, which is 392 pages of glorious Skins history, 5 pounds of Redskins gold. If you are a serious Washington fan, if you are a Skins historian, this book is a must-have. Makes for a terrific addition to any Skins-themed man cave. Also makes for a great gift. I have the book. It is sensational. Heck, this is a book that has been endorsed by Joe Gibbs himself. Quote, "This is a great book filled with great memories," end quote. The book now is available in ebook form, and the book now is available for an all-time low price. If you have been thinking about getting the book, now is the time. Take advantage of this special sale in honor of Washington's offseason. RFK All Access. You can get the book by visiting rfkallaccess.com. And when you order the book, please mention in the notes section that Al Galdi sent you. Doing that helps out this podcast a lot. That's rfkallaccess.com, rfkallaccess.com, and mention that Al Galdi sent you. The Washington Capitals now are in the midst of a stretch of having just one game in 6 days, so some downtime for the Caps off 2 games over the weekend. Friday night, a 3-2 win over the Vegas Golden Knights at Capital One Arena, but Saturday night, a 6-2 loss at the Montreal Canadiens. The Caps in the NHL's 2025-2026 regular season now are 31-24-7, good for 69 points and 4th place in the 8-team Metropolitan Division. The 2026 NHL trade deadline is this Friday, March 6th at 3 p.m. Eastern. What will the approach of Caps President of Hockey Operations Brian McClellan and Caps Senior Vice President and General Manager Chris Patrick be for this trade deadline? The Caps lately have been without the services of defenseman John Carlson. He has not played in each of the team's last 3 games due to a lower body injury. The Caps, in the win over Vegas at Capital One Arena on Friday night, did get back Tom Wilson from a 1-game absence caused by illness. He served as the Caps' second-line right wing, was number 1 on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 68. The Caps with Wilson on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game had 17 shot attempts versus allowing just 8 shot attempts. So the Caps in that game did have to hold on for the win. We had a scoreless first period. The Caps won the second period 3-0 and then won despite losing the third period 2-0. But another good game for the Caps' number one goaltender, Logan Thompson. He stopped 24 of the 26 shots on goal that he faced. And one of the goals that he allowed was a power play goal as the Caps went just 2 for 3 on the penalty kill. The Caps had 30 shots on goal to the Golden Knights 26, but got outplayed in terms of 5-on-5 play. The Caps per natural stat trick had just 38 5-on-5 shot attempts to the Golden Knights 49, including just 5 5-on-5 high danger shot attempts to the Golden Knights 13. But then in the loss at Montreal on Saturday night, the Caps starting goaltender was their number 2 goaltender, Charlie Lindgren. He played in his first game since January 29th. Due to injury and the NHL's break for the Olympics, and he again struggled. Lindgren stopped just 19 of the 23 shots on goal that he faced, including just 12 of the 16 shots on goal that he faced over the first 2 periods. Lindgren per natural stat trick stopped just 6 of the 9 high danger shots on goal that he faced. The Caps lost 6-2 despite winning the puck possession battle. They had 29 shots on goal to the Canadiens 25, and per natural stat trick had 38 5-on-5 shot attempts to the Canadiens 37, including 11 5-on-5 high danger shot attempts to the Canadiens 9. The Caps did go 3 for 3 on the penalty kill, but Lindgren is not having a good season. Compare and contrast Logan Thompson and Charlie Lindgren in this regular season. Thompson, 41 games, all starts, goals against average of 2.40, save percentage of .913. Lindgren, 19 games, including 18 starts, goals against average of 3.41, save percentage of just .881. We during Caps head coach Spencer Carberry's post-game session with reporters late night on Saturday night had these exchanges.
It's got to be a bit frustrating for Charlie to have an effort like that and the team come up with a game.
Yeah, I mean, it's a missed opportunity for our group. After playing well the last couple games, felt good about the preparation coming in and just didn't perform up to the level that we need to.
Is that a tough one for him to come into, having his first start in almost a month?
I mean, yeah, I think if you're referencing because it's a back-to-back with travel, I mean, look, I don't buy into the back-to-backs. Like, teams have come into our building on a back-to-back and kicked our ass. Like, I've watched that. So I understand it. I understand that there's level of fatigue and whatnot that goes into it, but it doesn't mean you can't win and perform at a high level on a back-to-back. So is it a tough game to play in? I would argue that any game that we play the rest of the way is going to be a tough game. So whether he starts against Utah or he starts against Montreal, tough games.
Yeah, that to me was Spencer Carberry saying that Charlie Lindgren needs to be better. Carberry right there was given the chance to take Lindgren off the hook, and Carberry did not take Lindgren off the hook. A horrendous weekend for the Caps power play. The win over Vegas at Capital One Arena on Friday night, the Caps went 0 for 5 on the power play. The loss at Montreal on Saturday night, the Caps went 0 for 4 on the power play. Interesting weekend for the Great Eight. Alex Ovechkin, he served as the Caps' top-line left wing in each game. The win over Vegas at Capital One Arena on Friday night, Ovi did not have his best game. No points, was next to last on the Caps, and 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 17.86. The Caps with Ovechkin on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game had just 5 shot attempts versus allowing 23 shot attempts. Ovechkin was tied for number 2 on the Caps in total shot attempts at 7, including having 3 shots on goal. But the loss at Montreal on Saturday night, both of the Caps' goals were scored by Ovi. Take it to the first period.
Back from Chisholm with a shot here. Loose in front, they score, and it's Alex Ovechkin on the rebound of a left-point shot. Cleans up the rebound. He beats Dildash with 6:44 to go in the first period. He loves playing in Montreal. We're tied at 1.
Oh, Chisholm does a nice job. He gets that puck. Not a hard one. Just get it on net. Anything can happen. Bodies in front of Dildash. He just takes that shot. Good screens. And then Alex Ovechkin sitting right there. The puck comes right to him. He's not going to miss that one.
No, he's not. John Walton and Ken Sabrin on the Washington Capitals radio network, and then in the third period.
Sent along the wing and down back in behind the net here for Dylan Strome.
Caps just having trouble getting to the interior right now. The Montreal Canadiens just packing it in.
Here's a puck in front for Ovechkin, and he scores his second of the game on a pass that came out of the corner. Well, Ovechkin single-handedly, even the Capitals in it here, down by 2 now. It's his second of the game and his 5th in this building this season.
Alex Ovechkin in the loss at Montreal on Saturday night scored an even-strength goal 13-16 into the first period and scored an even-strength goal 12-12 into the third period, giving him 24 goals in this regular season and giving him an NHL record 921 career regular season goals. He finished with a game-high 9 total shot attempts, including a game-high 6 shots on goal. A few other notes from the Caps win over Vegas at Capital One Arena on Friday night. Caps second-line center Pierre-Luc Dubois. He on Friday night scored 2 even-strength goals over the first 3:23 of the second period, marking the shortest time to 2 goals by a Caps player in one period in a regular season game since center Chandler Stevenson on January 31st, 2018. Also, Dubois had a secondary assist and registered a game-high tying 6 shots on goal. Caps defenseman Jacob Chychrun, he on Friday night scored an even-strength goal 14:52 into the second period, giving him 22 goals in this regular season. Most goals by a Caps defenseman in a regular season since Mike Green scored 31 goals in the 2008-2009 regular season. Also, Chychrun's 2 goals gave him 48 points in this regular season, a new career high for points in an NHL regular season. And he had a game-high 9 total shot attempts, including a game-high tying 6 shots on goal. In Caps second-line left wing Alexi Protas, he on Friday night had 2 primary assists, giving him 22 assists in this regular season, and he was number 2 on the Caps in 5-on-5 shot attempt percentage for the game per natural stat trick at 62.96. The Caps with Protas on the ice in 5-on-5 situations in the game had 17 shot attempts versus allowing 10 shot attempts. So the Caps for each game over the weekend had the same 2 healthy scratches, forward Hendrix Lapierre and defenseman Dylan McElrath. Also, winger Sonny Milano does remain in the Caps organization. The Caps this past Wednesday designated Milano for waivers, but he on Thursday cleared waivers and was assigned to the Caps AHL affiliate, the Hershey Bears. Next up for the Caps, home to the Utah Mammoth, Tuesday night at 7. There are 3 things about the games for my favorite NBA team, the Washington Wizards, that I find especially notable as the team concludes what hopefully is the final season of the tank. A, how key young players perform. B, whether the Wizards hopefully lose. And C, the extent to which the Wizards go to lose. And we, in the Wizards' lone game over the weekend, had them, shall we say, excelling in all 3 of these categories. Saturday night, a 134-125 loss to the Toronto Raptors at Capital One Arena. The Wizards in the NBA's 2025-2026 regular season now are 16-43, 4th worst record in the NBA. The Wizards were without a bunch of key guys. Alex Sarr did not play for a 7th consecutive game due to a right hamstring strain. Anthony Davis did not play for a 10th time in 10 games since being acquired by the Wizards via trade on February 5th, what was 2026 NBA trade deadline day. He's not playing due to a finger sprain on his left hand. D'Angelo Russell did not play for a 10th time in 10 games since being acquired by the Wizards via the Anthony Davis trade. Russell is being listed as not being with the team. He may never play for our team. Trae Young did not play for a 23rd time in 23 games since being acquired by the Wizards via trade on January 9th. He's not playing due to a right knee sprain and a right quadriceps contusion. And Cam Whitmore is done for the season due to right shoulder deep vein thrombosis. So the Wizards in this loss to the Raptors at Capital One Arena on Saturday night blew a 13-point first quarter lead. The Wizards entered the fourth quarter down by just 6 points at 98-92, but Wizards head coach Brian Keefe then did not play 4 of the Wizards' 5 starters at all in the fourth quarter. Bilal Coulibaly, Keyshawn George, Bub Carrington, and Trey Johnson all were benched for the entire fourth quarter in a blatant attempt by our Wizards to lose the game. You gotta admire this team's commitment to the tank. And what is hysterical to me is that Keefe, during his post-game press conferences, barely ever gets asked about these blatant tanking tactics because there just are this understanding and acceptance of what the Wizards are doing. The whole thing is absurd, but this is the modern NBA. We end this loss to the Raptors at Capital One Arena on Saturday night. Did see some good stuff from key young Wizards players, two guys who stood out to me, Keyshawn George and Will Riley. Keyshawn George returned from a one-game absence caused by a left knee contusion, and he was extremely efficient. He played for just 15 minutes, 10 seconds as a starter, but he in his mere 15-10 as a starter had 14 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 blocks. He went 3 for 3 on threes, 2 for 4 on twos, and 1 for 2 on free throws. Also, the rise of Will Riley continues. He was the Wizards' leading scorer. He in 34-30 as a reserve had 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists versus 3 turnovers. He went 1 for 2 on threes, 5 for 8 on twos, and 6 for 7 on free throws. He did have a game worst plus-minus rating of -16. Also, with the Wizards over the weekend, they have signed Juju. The Wizards on Saturday afternoon announced having signed Julian Reese. The man known as Juju signed him to a 2-way contract. Julian Reese played for the University of Maryland for 4 seasons, the 2021-2022 season through the 2024-2025 season, but he went undrafted in the 2025 NBA draft. Julian Reese is the younger brother of WNBA star Angel Reese of the Chicago Sky. She played for Maryland before transferring to LSU. Next up for the Wizards are games on back-to-back nights, home to the Houston Rockets Monday night at 7 and at the Orlando Magic Tuesday night at 7. Well, like a well-built team, a well-built wardrobe is about pieces that work together and hold up over time. That's what Quince does best. Premium materials, thoughtful design, and everyday staples that feel easy to wear and easy to rely on, even as the weather shifts. Quince has the everyday essentials that I love with quality that lasts. Organic cotton sweaters, polos for every occasion, lighter jackets that keep you warm in the changing seasons. The list goes on. Also, Quince works directly with top factories and cuts out the middlemen, so you're not paying for brand markup, just quality clothing. Everything is built to hold up to daily wear and still look good season after season. And Quince only partners with factories that meet rigorous standards for craftsmanship and ethical production. I have a Quince blue wool pullover. Looks good, keeps me warm, is durable. It's tremendous. Refresh your wardrobe with Quince. Go to quince.com/Galdi for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/Galdi. Free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/Galdi. And let's talk college basketball. We are now in the month of March. That means March Madness. It was 25 years ago this month that Maryland played Georgetown in the Sweet 16 of the 2001 NCAA tournament, March 22nd, 2001. A 76-66 Maryland win over Georgetown at the Arrowhead Pond of Anaheim in Anaheim, California in the Sweet 16. I was at that game, broadcasted it for Maryland student radio station, the mighty WMUC. Well, here we are 25 years later. And Maryland and Georgetown are reeling. Maryland in the 2025-2026 regular season fell to 11-18 overall, including 4-14 in the Big Ten, with a 69-65 loss to Rutgers at Xfinity Center in College Park, Maryland on Sunday afternoon, as season number 1 for Buzz Williams as Terrapins head coach has been a big-time disappointment. You know, it looked like there were about 6 people at Xfinity Center for this game, although the official attendance was 12,237. I don't know how those people must have come dressed as empty seats. Now, Maryland, to its credit, did rally. The Terps overcame a 20-point first-half deficit it, but they ultimately lost. Lost despite holding Rutgers to just 4 for 17 on threes and just 19 for 41 on twos, and despite out-rebounding Rutgers 50-26. But Maryland's offense was quite bad. The Terps went just 6 for 28 on threes and just 11 for 16 on free throws and had just 10 assists versus 19 turnovers. So the Terps did go 18 for 32 on twos. Maryland remained without its best player, 6'9" Texas A&M transfer Pharrell Payne. He did not play for an 18th consecutive game due to a right knee injury. Also 6'3" Indiana transfer Miles Rice. He was not available to play for an 8th consecutive game. Next up for Maryland at Wisconsin Wednesday night at 8. Georgetown now has lost 6 consecutive games as its third season with Ed Cooley as head coach has fallen apart. The Hoyas in this regular season fell to 13-16 overall, including 5-13 in the Big East, with a 91-84 loss at Xavier on Saturday afternoon. Tough spot for Georgetown. It was without one of its best players in 6'4" Arizona transfer KJ Lewis. He is done for the season due to a left ankle injury that he suffered in the Hoyas' 76-60 loss to Marquette at Capital One Arena this past Tuesday night. Also, Georgetown was without 6'5" Baylor transfer Langston Love for a 9th consecutive game. Georgetown in this loss at Xavier on Saturday afternoon blew an 8-point first-half lead. The Hoyas in the first half held an 8-point lead at 34-26. They then lost the rest of the game 65-50. Georgetown's defense was really bad. The Hoyas allowed Xavier to score 91 points, go 10 for 20 on threes, 19 for 37 on twos, and 23 for 26 on free throws, and have 17 assists versus 10 turnovers. Georgetown's offense was good. The Hoyas scored 84 points, went 12 for 27 on threes and 17 for 28 on twos, and had 24 assists versus 13 turnovers, although the Hoyas did go just 14 for 20 on free throws. But Georgetown's Kayvon Mulready and Malik Mack went a combined 10 for 19 on threes. 6'4" Kayvon Mulready was Georgetown's leading scorer. He in 28 minutes, 45 seconds as a reserve, had 19 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists versus 3 turnovers. He went 5 for 9 on threes and 2 for 3 on twos. Did not attempt a free throw. And 6'2" Malik Mack, 37-14 as a starter, 17 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and 2 steals. He went 5 for 10 from the field, all threes, and went 2 for 2 on free throws. Did commit 4 turnovers. So also, 6'4" Rutgers transfer Jeremiah Williams did play despite getting hurt in that Georgetown loss to Marquette at Capital One Arena this past Tuesday night. Williams in 32-23 as a starter had 10 points, 10 assists versus 1 turnover, 3 rebounds, and 2 steals. He went 1 for 1 on threes, 3 for 6 on twos, and 1 for 2 on free throws. So Georgetown in this game did some good stuff offensively, but the defense was lacking. Next up for Georgetown at number 15 St. John's Tuesday night at 7. The best Division I men's basketball team in the Mid-Atlantic region this season clearly is Virginia, but the Cavaliers on Saturday afternoon got humbled. Number 11 Virginia in this regular season fell to 25-4 overall, including 13-3 in the ACC, with a 77-51 loss at number 1 Duke on Saturday afternoon. UVA never held a lead in getting demolished at Duke. Now, UVA's defense actually was mixed. The Cavs held Duke to just 14 for 29 on twos, but allowed Duke to go 12 for 24 on threes and have 17 assists versus 8 turnovers. So the Cavs had major problems with 6'6" Isaiah Evans. He in 28-44 as a starter had 19 points, 3 assists versus 1 turnover, and a plus-minus rating of plus 26. He went 5 for 9 on threes and 2 for 2 on twos. Did not attempt a free throw. Also, the Cavs had trouble with Duke's best player, 6'9" true freshman Cameron Boozer, the twin brother of fellow Duke true freshman Caden Boozer. And they are the sons of former Duke and former NBA star Carlos Boozer. Cameron Boozer in 33-02 as a starter had 18 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists versus 3 turnovers, and a game best plus-minus rating of plus 28. He went just 1 for 4 on threes and just 2 for 5 on twos, but also 11 for 12 on free throws. Also, UVA's offense was not good. The Wahoos scored just 51 points, went just 7 for 35 on threes, and just 9 for 20 on twos, and had 10 assists versus 9 turnovers, and UVA got out-rebounded 37-29. Look, UVA still is a really good team. It just ran into a buzzsaw at Duke. Here was the opening statement of UVA head coach Ryan Odom's post-game press conference on Saturday afternoon.
played a great basketball game today. They put a ton of pressure on us from the get-go. Evans got him off to a great start, got free a couple of times, and he's just an elite, playmaker, shooter. Not certainly by no means a wild card for them. Somebody that they count on, each and every game, and he did a great job. Then Boozer, over the course of the first half, began to, make his presence felt. Our doubles were way too slow, not there on time. We had a couple that were okay, but we were just a little bit too hesitant to get there to him. And he made some really good plays, getting to the rim and getting fouled. Our discipline was not there overall, in terms of fouling him and getting getting to the line. I thought their guards did a great job, of applying pressure, to our guards without getting beat off the bounce regularly. They did a great job of just keeping us in front of them. And when we did get in there was help. And you have to make shots, when you get in that situation. When the ball's kicked back out, we had some open ones that did not go down that maybe would have given us a little bit more confidence. But in a situation like we were in today, when you're kind of playing from behind, it gets harder and harder and harder. And they did a really good job of just playing consistent basketball throughout the 40 minutes. So you have to give them a ton of credit.
Yes, you do. Next up for Virginia, home to Wake Forest Tuesday night at 7. Also with a loss at a ranked team on Tobacco Road on Saturday was Virginia Tech. The Hokies in this regular season fell to 18-11 overall, including 7-9 in the ACC, with an 89-82 loss at number 18 North Carolina on Saturday night. The game happened at the Dean Smith Center in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, on what would have been the 95th birthday of legendary former UNC head coach Dean Smith. Missed opportunity for Tech. UNC was without its best player in 6'10 true freshman Caleb Wilson due to a fractured left hand. Tech trailed for 30-21 of the game's 40 minutes. Tech's defense was bad. The Hokies allowed UNC to score 89 points and go 8 for 20 on threes and 21 for 32 on twos and generate 30 free throw attempts, so though UNC went just to 23 for 30 on free throws. So also Tech got out-rebounded by UNC 34-22. Tech lost despite its offense being good. The Hokies scored 82 points, went 9 for 23 on threes, 22 for 39 on twos, and 11 for 11 on free throws, and had 16 assists versus 9 turnovers. A good game for 6'9 true freshman Neo of Dallas of Greece. He was Tech's leading scorer, 29-25 as a starter, 19 points, 5 assists versus 2 turnovers and 3 rebounds. He went 3 for 6 on threes and 2 for 2 on free throws. Did go just 4 for 10 on twos. Also, Tech got back 6'5 Tyler Johnson. He returned from a 15-game absence caused by a left ankle injury. Played for 214 as a reserve. Next up for Virginia Tech, home to Boston College Tuesday night at 9. A nice win for VCU in its homecoming game, and a nice bounce back for the Rams off their 88-75 loss at then number 18 St. Louis on February 20th. The VCU in this regular season improved to 22-7 overall, including 13-3 in the A-10, with an 82-63 win over Fordham at the Stuart C. Siegel Center in Richmond, Virginia on Saturday afternoon. The Rams never trailed. They, with this win, clinched one of the top 4 seeds and clinched a double bye in the 2026 A-10 tournament. Next up for VCU, home to George Mason Tuesday night at 7. And speaking of George Mason, its 4-game losing streak is over. The Patriots in this regular season improved to 22-7 overall, including 10-6 in the A-10, with a 71-58 win over St. Bonaventure at Eagle Bank Arena in Fairfax, Virginia on Saturday afternoon. A good win for Mason against, yes, a bad team in St. Bonaventure, but the Patriots never trailed. They now are 16-2 in home games in this regular season. George Washington, in this regular season, fell to 16-13 overall, including 7-9 in the A-10, with a 68-66 loss to Dayton at the Charles E. Smith Center in Washington, D.C. on Friday night. The Revolutionaries overcame a 14-point first-half deficit, but were really bad on threes and free throws. Just 6 for 20 on threes, just 16 for 29 on free throws. Also, GW committed 20 turnovers, though it also generated 17 turnovers by Dayton and had 14 offensive rebounds to Dayton's 2. Very winnable game, but unfortunately a loss. Next up for George Washington, home to St. Bonaventure Wednesday night at 7. And how about Navy? The Midshipmen concluded a regular season in which they went 25-6 overall, including 17-1 in the Patriot League with an 85-69 win over Colgate at Alumni Hall in Annapolis, Maryland on Saturday. This is just the second 17-1 or better conference regular season recorded by a Patriot League team since the league expanded to an 18-game regular season conference schedule for each team beginning with the 2013-2014 season. Next up for Navy is the 2026 Patriot League tournament, in which the Mids, as the outright regular season conference champion, are the number one seed and have a bye to the quarterfinals. So Navy will host each game that it plays in the tournament. The Mids quarterfinal game will be this Thursday night at 7. And that'll do it for you and me for now. Keep the feedback coming. You can hit me up on X at Al Galdi. You can email me the Al Galdi podcast at yahoo.com. Tuesday show, episode 1272. We'll have plenty for you on the Washington Commanders. Also on Tuesday's show, I'll talk Washington Wizards. They are home to the Houston Rockets Monday night at 7. Have a great rest of your Monday, and I'll talk to you on Tuesday.
Position flexed.